welcome back to Waiting in Laodicea. I'm your host, A.T. Martinez, and today we're going to talk about, a book series that I recommend strongly. I do not agree 100% with it, but overall, it is correct. It is a good series. It's the Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. Now, most people, when they hear of the Left Behind series, they immediately recognize the name Tim LaHaye. He was the primary author, but he did have a co-author that helped him, and that is Jerry B. Jenkins. Jerry B. Jenkins also writes futuristic end-of-times books of his own, but that's not what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the Left Behind series. Now, the Left Behind series by itself is 12 books. There's a 3-book prequel and a fourth book that actually comes at the end of it all. And the book series starts with the Left Behind, goes to Tribulation Force, to Nikolai, to Soul Harvest, Apollon, Assassins, the Indwelling, the Mark, Desecration, the Remnant, Armageddon, and Glorious Appearing. And this documents basically the 7-year tribulation. It brings you all the way up until the very end when Christ comes back from Armageddon and we begin the millennium. Now, Kingdom Come discusses the millennium. Now, although the Left Behind series more or less starts almost immediately with the rapture, it does begin first off with the Gog and Magog battle. Then it goes to the rapture. Now, to understand more about that part, you can see the prequels, which are the Rising, the Regime, and the Rapture. Now, that brings your total up to 16 books. Now, keep in mind, there are Left Behind Kids. There are other books, other series that they have written that are based off of and splinters of these main books. So if you are somebody who is a prolific reader and enjoys reading, the Left Behind series is going to give you plenty of material. I mean, just with the basic 12 books, that's 12 books. I don't even think there's a term for that. What would that be, a dozenology? Don't know. But it's bigger than a decology, which is a 10-book series. And the other great thing about this is by reading this, you're going to be reading reading about eschatology, which is the study of the end of times. Now, you will get to see the time frame as Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins see it, how they've done a lot of research into their subject, research that I am in the process of doing on my own also. Why? Because just because somebody else says it, if that somebody else isn't God and that somebody else isn't the Bible, it should be checked versus the Bible. Now, again, the one question I have, overall with the Left Behind series is the assumption of a pre-tribulation rapture. There's no guarantee on that. Am I saying that there isn't going to be one? No, I'm not. Am I saying that we need to be prepared either way? Yes, I have said this, and I will continue to say this. Why? Because that's just the way things are. Now, the Left Behind series was a great series. I enjoyed it immensely, and it really got me to thinking about the subject matter, which is the tribulation, the Antichrist, the false prophet, and how all of this could possibly come to be in the world as we know it. Now, when I first read this book, which was back in, the book was released in 1995, was the first release of The Left Behind, I could not see this happening so easily. Now, I think it'd be even easier. And as our society changes and our world changes, then what we are looking at will become easier and easier and easier to see the possibilities of. we're going to see how easy it is for churches to want to join together to become a worldwide church. That way people don't disagree, and it'll cut down on some of the arguments. Well, I don't agree on that, but that's all right. The thing is, the series is a great series. Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins have written many books about the end of times, not just this series. They've written nonfiction books along with other fiction accounts of possible ways things could be. And that, as you read these books, you gain, number one, a little bit better understanding of how the Bible can play out in real life, how other people are seeing the same information you're reading, and maybe they're interpreting it either differently or the same, so that you see that, okay, yeah, I might be on the right track here. The other thing that's great about this series is there have been a couple attempts to try to make movies out of it. I will tell you, so far, they've been lacking. The one that went to the big screen really wasn't that great, because Hollywood doesn't like Christianity. There's no profit margin, they think, in that. The point is, the Left Behind series is a great series, and it's a great way for you to get your foot in the door of eschatology. Now, prior to this, you also had... This was actually the very first series that really went into depth over the end of times. Prior to this, the only two books that were out that came close was 666, The Number of the Beast, and its companion book. I can't remember the title. But they were sold together as just basically one big book. So, I mean, that one was okay. This is a lot better. It gives you a lot more detail. And I'll tell you right now, some of the characters are extremely likable. Some of them you start thinking, listen, you whining little brat. But that's me. Maybe not you. You may have a different favorite character. The point is, as you are looking for ways to fill your day as a Christian, this is a good way to start, because you're reading books that are written from a Christian point of view and about things that you as a Christian should know and understand so that you can be prepared for. You don't have to get caught up in the fact that he says it's a pre-tribulation rapture. Again, this is a discussion that eschatologists are debating to this day. Why? Because the Bible doesn't clearly say. Oh, excuse me, folks. The Bible doesn't clearly state when the rapture will be. My basic opinion is, I don't know. I will be prepared for whichever. And when I read a book that has the rapture in the beginning, the middle, or even the end, I take it and go, okay, that's a good possibility. Let's see what it would be like. I don't let that one detail alter my enjoyment of the reading. Now, do keep in mind, these books are not the Bible. They are an opinion. They are the opinion. They are a story that was made up by these two authors, Jerry B. Jenkins and Tim LaHaye. Therefore, this is not to be taken as the Bible. Taken along with the Bible as a chronological explanation of the tribulation, in some degrees, yes. And also, it's a good way for you to help start making a little bit of sense out of some of the descriptions and some of the different things, major parts of the time frame of the tribulation. For example, the desolation. I believe... Sorry, my tech support fell asleep. Keep going. There's a book that was released in 2001 called The Desecration. The desecration is whenever the Antichrist goes in and desecrates the temple of God. This is not the euphemistic or the symbolic body of temple of God, meaning your body. No, this is when the Antichrist goes into the temple itself, the new temple, which will be rebuilt during the time of the tribulation, or having been finished prior to. That is one of the signs of the end of times. The Jews get their temple back. But the Antichrist desecrates it, makes it unholy. The description that they did in the desecration was wonderful. The way they have humans trying to alter God's will because we just don't like the Antichrist. Also, really well done. Because I'm sure during the end of times, there are going to be people that are going to sit back and say, this guy's got to go. Give me a bullet, I'll do it myself. Especially Americans. We have a tendency to not like the way things are going, and when we don't, we want to take action. Overall, I do give this, as I say, 2 thumbs up. But I recommend this series, and I will try to find you the list of other series that I do recommend, so that occasionally I can interrupt our regular scheduled program with a commercial on their basis. Now, please keep in mind that neither of these authors are paying me. They have never given me a thing for free. And frankly, I don't know what they could give me. I've got their books. I've already bought them. I even listened to them on audio tape. Like them that way. Now, remember, when I used to drive, I was driving professionally as a bus driver, and I traveled hours at a time. So having an audiobook was a great way to go through the miles. Having 12 audiobooks was really good way to go through miles. But I will give you other books, other series, and other authors as I remember them and as I find them. Most of these books can be found either on Amazon, or if you're into audiobooks, you can find quite a few of them in Audible, which is also through Amazon now. So, if you're looking for a good one to start yourself out with, that breaks things down very well, I strongly recommend you do the Tim LaHaye series. Tim LaHaye, Jerry B. Jenkins, the Left Behind books. They will help you start making sense, and you will be able to start seeing how survival during the tribulation is going to be different. Because although the rapture took place, some people found God afterwards. So, keep this in mind. Enjoy the books. I hope you do. I did. I strongly recommend them to anybody who wants to study about the end of times and get an understanding of what could possibly happen. And thank you. That concludes today's little mini episode on the Left Behind series. I am, of course, A.T. Martinez, and this has been Waiting in Laodicea. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, hit the share button. If you've read this series, put your comments down below. Let people know what you think of the series, what you thought about it, what's your favorite part, what part didn't you really care for. Let us know, and we'll have a talk about it one day. Either way, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this episode with your friends, your family, with your small group. And last but definitely not least, definitely subscribe. Get your friends, your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, your members of your small group, the people that go to church with you, everybody that's involved in your life, to help subscribe to this show, because that is the cheapest and easiest way to support this ministry. Other things you can do to support this ministry are listed in the description of this episode. And you will also find another source by looking in the description of this channel. Finally, if all else fails, you can always email me. It's at waitinginlaodicea@gmail.com, and talk to me and let me know what you need. I'll do my best to try to help you. And you don't have to write me and say, I want to give you money, but first, could you help me with... Then just tell me what you need. Help me.